Ever wondered what goes on behind closed doors? We do it 6-8 times a day. But mothers say, don't talk about it. It's embarrassing, downright dirty. So almost anywhere you go, it's a taboo. But why this coyness over a natural urge? Why the blushes when we whisper, sorry, I've got to go? This is a story of 3 men out to break our ultimate taboo. Sometimes size matters. The city-state of Singapore is tiny, no larger than New York City, but with a big reputation to live up to. It's a manicured metropolis, not a hair out of place, and anal about keeping it that way. Just the kind of city to inspire this dream. Meet Jack, an out-of-the-box regular Joe. Sometimes Jack calls himself Superloo.
Yes, good. One more time.
More often he's known as president of the WTO, his World Toilet Organization, a movement he began with $80,000 from his savings. His methods may seem potty, but the media darling will do anything for his mission. Better toilets for all.
Good. Hold your plunger higher. We try. Very nice. Good.
You spend a lot of time talking about drinking and eating and make an art out of it, but you refuse to admit that after that what happened? On the way out, it's also a culture, because toilet is culture. Toilet is something you do 6 to 8 times a day, and if you do it so often, it's your culture. So we have to talk about it, and we have to enjoy that part of it as well.
The thing about toilets is that it turns us off, or we laugh it off. There's hardly any middle ground. Today, people may be more comfortable talking about sex, and fewer believe that women have to be coy. The old taboos are slowly dying. But the first thing we do in the morning is still the last thing we'll talk about in polite company. When Jack founded the WTO, the odds were his would be a one-man crusade for some time. But 5 years on, guess what?
It's going to be a very, very big meeting. Very exciting. I'm looking forward to this meeting.
This afternoon, Jack is off to China.
Keep left.
His World Toilet Organization is open for business in 40 countries. Tomorrow, members will gather for its annual conference, the 4th World Toilet Summit. By any standard, Jack's WTO is a classic success story.
Bye-bye. Have a good trip.
But when was the last time anyone took a toilet expert seriously?
Don't go karaoke. I think it won't happen. I told him that, and I say, and people will call me Liam Ban So, you know? You know, Liam Ban So means Mrs. Toilet in Teochew. So that's not a very nice term for me. Bye. See you.
Bye-bye.
Years ago, Beijing, host city of the World Toilet Summit, had just 8 public toilets. Even in the Forbidden City, royal palace to the Chinese emperors, were 10,000 rooms, but not a single toilet. So this is how the day began for the last emperor to sit on the throne.
This is Pu Yi, the last emperor of China. And in the room deep in the Forbidden City lies the last of the royal toilets. The seat was made of wood, but like all the imperial toilets of the Qing dynasty, the pan was crafted from silver. Following court tradition, it was carried out of the royal chapel by eunuchs. Then it was cleaned before it was used again. It was deodorized with the ash of pine resin.
Meanwhile, outside the palace, China's toilets remain the stuff of urban legends. Until official Ma Kunding.
完了，我跟郭丽说一声，他去盖就完了。啊，我知道，完了，哎，行了。
Official Ma has been given a mission. He has to spruce up Beijing's toilets in time for the nation's coming-of-age party, the 2008 Olympic Games. Like any Olympic city, Beijing will build a stadium, highways, and even a new airport. But China also has clean toilets on its list. Today, official Ma heads down for a quick inspection. Experts from the World Toilet Summit will arrive soon. Ma needs to get the word out that China's notorious toilets are a thing of the past.
这个非常好，侧位显空气。如果您来如厕的话，你看有人红色的关门了，这个您可以随便利用，没有，非常好用。
Welcome to the toilet at Tiananmen Square. Capacity: 6,000 users a day. Status: showcase of the Olympic Toilet Project. Its secret: made in China ingenuity.
这个厕所呀，是在
This toilet is in the capital of China, right at its heart, in Tiananmen Square. It has to be the best.
这个厕所必须要把它建好。
But when the world's toilet experts converge for their summit, will official Ma's project pass their eagle eyes? China's pride is at stake.
Yeah, look, this is only this.
It's time for a pop quiz. Who invented the flush toilet? Kids are taught Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone and Thomas Edison the light bulb. But what about the flush toilet? It seems the first flush toilet was made for Queen Elizabeth I by her godson, John Harrington. Sir John. But it was another Englishman who made it popular, a certain Thomas Crapper. And yes, that's how that became a rude word. As for the inventor behind the toilet paper we use today, anyone heard of American Joseph Gaiety? His name has been almost wiped off the history books. So what was it like before these inventions came along? In old Europe, people would throw everything out the window with shouts of Gardy, Lou. But the story doesn't end there. In a corner of India, the forgotten tale is constantly being retold. And this morning, something seems to be stirring.
आराम से लाओ ना ठीक से बहुत कॉस्टली है
Binshwa Pathak is getting a centerpiece for his unusual museum. A story of human civilization told through toilets.
ठीक है This is a toilet in medieval Europe. People, when they used to go for hunting, they used to carry this toilet for defecation. I think it's very good design. And then you see it's in medieval period, 15th century, 16th century.
Dr. Pathak has spent over 10 years on his museum, tracking piece by piece a story few have bothered to write down. But his story is far from complete, and Dr. Pathak's still looking for some missing pieces.
This see the toilet for the elephants. In India, nobody considers a prestigious job to work for the toilet. But for me, it has become a religion for me.
Meanwhile, back in Beijing, 1,000 days is all that stands between China and the biggest party it's ever had, the 2008 Olympic Games. Tonight, the mood hits fever pitch as the nation gears up for an Olympic version of Chinese Idol. China will vote for a song to capture the spirit of the Beijing Games. This morning, another milestone in China's Olympic ambition kicks in. Beijing plays host to the World Toilet Summit. So what goes on at a toilet summit? The headlines screamed what people were thinking, a flush of excitement. But the delegates had this to say.
Now I will read the declaration of the 4th World Toilet Summit in Beijing. Hereby we declare that toilet embodies the material and spiritual well-being of a country and a region.
Their message was simple. While we continue to joke about this taboo, over 2 billion people do not even have a simple toilet in their homes.
Thank
you. It's the last day of the World Toilet Summit. An official Ma takes the delegates on a tour of his projects. After 2 days of talking, it was time for a hands-on feel. The verdict: with Beijing splashing 12 million a year on its loos, the experts were bowled over. For official Ma, the summit has shown the world a different China. But if only life was so simple. Away from the prying eyes of the world's toilet experts is the setting for the next stage of the Olympic toilet project. Beijing's Hutong district is an old neighborhood of courtyard homes. Its first brush with modern plumbing came in the 1960s. Modern by the standards of Mao's Red China. Tucked between the homes are communal toilets, shared by some 30 families and best found by following your nose. But 50 years ago, even communal toilets were a great leap forward. In a country with more people than its farms could feed, waste was never wasted. It was carted from chamber pots in the cities to the fields. The carriers were hailed as communist heroes. One man stinks, so others stay clean. But 50 years later, with 1,000 days to the Olympics, a different revolution is sweeping through the cities of China. The old communal toilets are no longer good enough.
就想问一下啊，这个厕所你常来吗？
我常来，我常来这儿。
为什么不用家厕？
家里厕所呀，太糟糕了，太糟糕了。
怎么个糟糕法？
我无法形容。
你可以带我们去看吗？
可以，我带你们看看去。
Here's a hint of what the Olympic toilet project is up against.
你看，你们自个儿看去吧，我就不进去了，你们自个儿看去吧。
Residents claim that this toilet hasn't been cleaned for 5 years.
哎，没办法，凑合，你总不能拉到大街上去，就是这。
掏那么多少年了，那现在的话，我原来有点地，有的时候就扔的地了。你看。
If you have a weak stomach, shut your eyes. Here's a sight you don't want to see.
倒的那边那个坑里，
条子行了，条子这个靠。
走，你看它全到那后边去了，走不走？走，我挑那边去，我挑那个地来去，嘿嘿。
So in about 1,000 days, China has to leap from the 1960s to the 21st century. It's dirty work, but someone has to do it.
完了啊，对，不是我这开着车呢，我没敢进。
Soon after the World Toilet Summit, official Ma receives his next assignment, the dreaded Hutong Toilet Project.
他现在是这块负责多少户？
他这个一共是。
The assignment turns out to be a numbers game. In 2004, official Ma cleaned up 400 of the city's old toilets. But now, for the Hutong project, he's been ordered to deliver 1,726. That's about 5 toilets a day, including weekends. He may have the backing of the party, plus a budget of millions of dollars, but official Ma's task is not going to be easy.
这个过程，这个厕所。
These are the most difficult toilets to build. The land we are standing on is prime real estate. So we have to rebuild the toilets on the foundations of the old. We can't afford to build them an inch larger. Meanwhile,
as the Olympics get closer, the pressure builds up and each new toilet sets a new benchmark. But for a country that's changing faster than most places on Earth,
明天要拍这个东西，那个谁，宝庆跟你说了吗？
what are a few numbers anyway? Try telling that to official Ma.
你有样品吗？哎，赵一军吗？同时又是个压力，为什么是压力呢？
The stress is incredible. I've never handled a project on this scale. If I don't get this right, I'll have to resign. There's no doubt. I'll resign.
The few of us take toilets seriously, and what comes naturally is a 4-letter word we shy away from.
Poo?
Duty.
Ah, crap.
And the list just goes on and on.
My boss says I need to see a man about a dog, so mid-kick.
Dump.
The American phrase bathroom, actually.
Am I allowed to say
So we feel like a number one after a drink, a number two when an urge gets stronger. And when that moment strikes, we hold, sometimes too shy to even whisper, "I've really got to go." So what happens when we need to get serious and talk about what will come naturally? It's a Sunday morning in Singapore. Jack is on toilet duty. The Singapore chapter of his World Toilet Organization has worked out a system of star ratings for the city's public toilets. For $40, an inspector from the WTO turns up, checks, and hands out the stars. So what transforms the simple John into a star? What's the secret behind the leading ladies? The basics won't get you beyond 3 stars. For 5, be prepared to roll out the red carpet. But the road to stardom depends entirely on the aim.
Yeah, the male trajectory is unpredictable. When the water pressure is high, he can shoot into the urinal, but finally he probably will drip a little bit onto the ground. Here's some water flushing it down, so this is okay. It's good, yeah.
It was during these inspections that an idea took shape in Jack's mind. How do designers and architects really know what goes on behind closed doors?
The man just zip, shoot, keep it and zip it up. That's about 36 seconds. And the woman, she has to go to the cubicle, she has to lock the door, she has to put her hand back, she has to inspect the seat cover, she has to wipe it. If it's too dirty, she has to do a kung fu stunt. Instead of sitting down, she will half stoop. So ladies' toilet ought to be much bigger, and the code of practice all over the world should change, because giving them exactly the same size is giving them too little.
Convinced that something had to be done, Jack hit upon a solution. He began to dream about a world toilet college. The very thought gave him a new lease on life.
Maybe having a new sports car or a mistress could give you that feeling, but the price to pay is too high, you see? And this is a social service as well, so I think it's much better to do a volunteer work.
But at just $40 an inspection, the WTO isn't exactly flushed with cash. So Jack scoured the city, searching for affordable spaces for his World Toilet College. But even this was too steep for his budget. There was only one thing left to do. Jack is a successful businessman with a building to his name. So once again, he dug into his pocket. He gave up some office space, and the World Toilet College was born.
I think it's very hard for us to say this is a college, but it's a training center for a first step.
Far away from Singapore, there is a place where Jack can find experts to start his lessons on the loo. A place where cleanliness is an obsession, where the humble toilet has evolved into an object of luxury. For only in Japan is there a place some would call the toilet capital of the world, Fukuoka. In a city of over 1 million people, 3,000 are gainfully employed in the largest toilet company in the world.
うちのトイレにゃ裏がある れてる
嘘
縁がないからお掃除10秒の縁なしトイレにしてとうとう
Here is an insider's guide to the largest toilet company in the world, where specialists are privy to every part of the potty. This team has an insight to the secrets of the flush. The average person leaves 140 grams after each visit, but these flush systems don't take chances. They're designed to deal with mega loads, up to a kilo. Another team is dedicated to fighting the battle of the sexes. Had those arguments about whether the seat should stay up or down? What about a compromise? A motorized, motion-controlled toilet seat. All this adds up to some of the most expensive toilets in the world. But the designers didn't stop there. One model's even made it to the Guinness Book of Records for the world's most sophisticated toilet. Then the designers went further. So here's a step-by-step guide to another marvel of Japanese technology.
5.
Check the self-closing toilet seat, climate-controlled for those cold winter nights.
4.
Next, a device to stop anyone from sniffing out what really goes on here. Ensuite air fresheners, naturally with a choice of fragrances, electronically released to rid any odor. Step 3. Get to know the toilet's remote panel.
MP3 の音楽が流れるようにしたり、温度を変えたりっていう設定がこの中でできるように。
Next, don't be frightened. Take a seat. We're just running some tests. Some Toto models will even analyze your blood sugar levels. But top of the list,
1.
Here's a feature that makes this truly Japanese. The built-in bidet, guaranteed to hit the spot in regular wash or gentle spin. But while the Japanese go gaga over their paperless potties, one man in India struggles to bring toilets to those who have none. In the Indian capital, New Delhi, life is lived on the street. Teeming millions swarm the pavements, turning them into kitchens, bedrooms, restaurants, and toilets. New Delhi is home to Bindeshwar Pathak, founder of the Toilet Museum. But in the 9 months since the World Toilet Summit, it's his day job that's been keeping him busy. This morning, his routine is broken again. But even on this unfamiliar route are reminders that he spent a lifetime on a battle yet to be won. Across India, 750 million live with no flush toilets. Even in the largest cities, the men head out to makeshift spots, while the women will wait till dark to do the same.
Defecation and urination, both are very important. You can wait for your breakfast or lunch or anything, but you cannot wait for going to the toilet or to make urine.
But this morning, Dr. Patak is about to claim a small victory. He's just opened a new public toilet, the latest in his chain of more than 6,000. Dr. Patak is the founder of an organization called Sulabh. His dream is to get modern toilets into every corner of India. This is the doctor's day job and his life passion.
The toilet means to me my baby. So I maintain that in that spirit and with that pain. Suppose there is scratch in the wall. It looks as that scratches on my body.
All over India, in over 1,000 towns and cities, Dr. Patak's toilets are used by 10 million a day. His chain also claims to run the largest toilet complex in the world. But all this is barely a drop in a country of 1 billion people. To keep his dream going, Dr. Patak spends his days pitching to donor after donor. His appeal is simple. The people need toilets. And he has the solution, tried and tested in all the toilets he runs. A simple 3 holes in the ground. His toilet flushes human waste into 2 pits. When one gets filled, the second pit is used, while the waste in the first pit has time to dry. In a country where the average income is about $500 a year, Dr. Patak has thrown out sewers and expensive treatment plants.
This is the fertilizer.
It's 2 for the price of 1. Modern toilets, free fertilizer.
This is very cheaper compared to.
And as an added bonus, the pits also generate biogas for lighting and cooking. These past months, however, Dr. Patak has been pitching with an unusual urgency. There is a story he needs to tell. Three hours from the Indian capital, New Delhi, the little town of Alwar is the keeper of an ancient secret. The town's old quarter is home to the Scavengers, a community of untouchables, the lowest of the low in the Hindu caste system. Hinduism is the religion of the majority in India. Its followers live by the law of karma, the belief that our actions in this life will determine how our souls will be reincarnated in the next. The good will be reborn as high castes, like the Brahmins or priests. At the bottom are the untouchables, fated for the worst that life can throw at anyone. They are banned from temples and take on work that others shun. Undertakers, leather tanners, and among the worst is a secret that towns like Alwar keep. A sewage system, flushed by human hands. This is the lot of scavengers. Their destiny is to clear the waste of superior beings, then bear the shame upon their heads.
My mother and father had to do this too. And I have done it since I was very young. I am very sad.
The caste system may be outlawed in modern India, but across the country, 160 million untouchables are still shackled to its taboos. Not too long ago, Usha Chamar used to be a scavenger. Born into a scavenger family, she was brought up to believe she had no option in life but to live as fated by her birth. Her work made her spiritually unclean, and even her shadow was considered polluting. Then she met a man who told her she had a choice, that there was a life where the old taboos won't apply, and he could create that life in 3 short years. Dr. Patak promised Usha a place in a school for women from scavenger families.
सर कढ़ाई भी जानते हैं, सिलाई भी जानते हैं। सर बहुत ज़्यादा चाहते हैं हम तो बहुत ज़्यादा कमा नहीं है। उसका तो लगता है कि विश्वास।
The day I saw her, she was unable to speak to me. That day she came just after cleaning human excreta from some houses. So she was feeling very embarrassed to talk to me.
नहीं अब नहीं आती हमको शर्म।
I don't feel embarrassed now, but it was different before.
सब छूत करते थे, बच-बच के चलते थे हमसे, जैसे कोई भंगी जमादार।
People would avoid us when they walked past. They'll stare at us like we were dirty people.
अब कोई नहीं करता हमसे।
For 30 years, Dr. Patak's been building toilets that free scavengers like these women from the taboos of the caste system. But when he came to Alwa, he started thinking, what happens to them when they have no toilets to clear? Was he really helping? So he set up a school, took in 28 women, and for 3 years they've sewn and beautified, started businesses, sold food. So in honor of their founder's visit, they prepare a special meal. And with the women graduating in a few weeks, it turns out to be a celebration as well. In this room, another taboo is being broken. For in places like Alwa, where the caste system survives, it would be unheard of for a high-caste Brahmin like Dr. Patak to be feasting with scavengers. But the work of breaking taboos has only just begun. It's the second morning of Dr. Patak's visit. He has negotiated a special dispensation for his students to join him in prayer. For tradition dictates that unclean scavengers should be barred from temples. But the students who are with him pray not for themselves, but for the success of his new mission. When they graduate in a few weeks, Dr. Patak has found the funds for another 50 women to take their place.
Actually, I start my prayer, and my wish is that all the scavengers of India should be able to come in the mainstream of society. You will have to take them to drawing water from the wells, then going to a pond, also offering prayer in the temple, and to have a common dining, so that they should feel the part and parcel of the society.
Later that morning, Dr. Patak heads down to the scavenger quarter of Alwa, and it immediately brings back memories of his first visit 3 years ago. Back then, no one would even talk to him. What was this Brahmin doing in this part of town? What does he want with our women? 3 years on, the ghetto still remains desperately poor. The women have little choice. They've cleared the latrines and are paid little more than $3 a week. Their lives will revolve around their homes. Scavengers have been killed for straying to parts of town where their polluting presence is not welcome. The men are known to drink heavily, just to drown the stench. Meanwhile, the word has gone out. The Brahmin is back. News about the school has spread, so before long, a crowd builds up. Dr. Patak dangles an attractive offer. The women he takes in will be given an allowance 3 times what they will earn as scavengers. Dr. Patak even promises that all the 400 women scavenging in Alwar will eventually be given a chance.
I will do for 400 people. Alwar I have taken as a model. And in Alwar, I will see that no scavenging is allowed. So nobody is doing scavenging. So we will help them. And I can show the nation that, look, I have done 1 town. The rest you can do.
By the time the day is over, Dr. Patak has been more successful than he had dared to dream. Nearly all the women have signed up. But he only has funds to take in 50 women. Who will he turn down? Who can he turn to for help?
I'll get the car.
It's another Sunday in Singapore. Jack spends the weekend relieving some stress. The last months have not gone well for him. His World Toilet College was launched 6 months ago, but surprised? Not a single student has signed up.
I told him, I said, you must be crazy. Who wants to be a member of a toilet, isn't it?
But Jack has heard this before. When you champion a cause like toilets, you get used to the sniggers, to people saying no. So the next day, he's back at work. There's a conference for worthy causes. $30,000 had been put aside for the most convincing pictures. Jack has just 5 minutes, and for a moment, a fighting chance.
6,000 children die every day of diarrheal diseases.
Setting up the college has strained the finances of his World Toilet Organization. Jack needs money to carry on.
I find it very difficult
But he's up against the homeless, troubled teens. All he has are toilets and his charm. Would you donate to a World Toilet College? Jack didn't get the money. But the next day, a call comes through. Someone has heard his appeal.
They're going to fund us, so the World Toilet Organization for the first time will have a big check. Yes, we got it. Good, eh? See you later. Bye.
Who wants to be caught with their pants down? It's embarrassing. The stuff of crude jokes. So when it comes to toilets, who wouldn't just keep away? Why would anyone be interested in the loo? Finally, the time has come. The first of the scavengers of Alwa are breaking the shackles of an ancient taboo. Once fated to clear human waste, now they have a chance to start a different life. Dr. Patak, who began by questioning the old prejudices, is determined his experiment should not end. But months of pleading has led nowhere. Dr. Patak promised places in his school to 400 scavengers, but he has funds for no more than 50. But if time is what it needs to shatter old taboos, so scavengers like Usha can start new lives, then Dr. Patak is not about to give up, yet.
Sanitation has become my religion. It's just a mission of my life. So now I am tuned in such a way that for whole life I will not be able to do something else.
Meanwhile, over in China, official Ma's been feeling like his city's Peking ducks, in the hot seat for over a year. There were even worries he'd be hung out to dry. But 12 months later, the celebration begins at the site of a major victory. China's legendary Peking duck restaurant has been persuaded to join the fight for clean toilets. They've agreed to open their washrooms to anyone off the streets. As for its target of 1,726 toilets, this is China, where nothing seems impossible.
We made a promise when we bid for the Olympics. We can't go back on our words. This project has to be finished. We are Chinese. We are men of our words.
That's me. You know what day it is today? It's World Toilet Day.
It's the 19th of November, and it's like his birthday and Christmas and the World Cup finals all rolled in one. And as it turns out, a day for breaking old taboos. In Singapore, Jack's dream of getting larger washrooms for women has been made law.
I think eventually the whole world has to change because the current toilet ratio between men and women was designed before women liberation started, when women are at home.
With new laws in the city, the timing was just right for Jack to realize yet another of his dreams. With the big check he received, Jack's World Toilet College has finally taken off.
Exactly the same thing, cut and paste.
Working with a local college, more than 100 architects, designers and planners have turned up for its very first seminar.
Well, I feel very good. We have a new beginning. World Toilet College is started.
When Jack began to question our toilet taboos, people sniggered. But he would say, don't laugh, at least not yet.
A lot of taboo in the past has been broken, like leprosy, women's liberation, sex revolution, and yet toilet, we still have not overcome this taboo, so we have to break this last one.